Hello everyone, it's Carrie at Inky Bee Journals and Ephemera. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time visiting my channel, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. And if you've been to my channel before, thank you so much for returning. Thank you to everybody for choosing to spend a portion of your day with me. I really do appreciate it. Now, before I get into today's tutorial, I will just let you know that if you can hear a whirring sound in the background of this video, I do apologise. I have cold weather here at the moment, and I have my air conditioner running in the room to help keep me warm. So I hope it's not too distracting for you. So today, we are working on these easy envelopes. These are two different types of envelopes. So this is type 1, and this is what I like to call the triangle method. This is like the envelope that you might find in the shops, where you will find your cards, and it will come with a card that goes with it, or it might just come on its own. And so this is envelope 1 that we will work on, and this is envelope 2, and this is just one of those types of ones that is a little bit more like the ones you might receive in the mail that has your junk mail and your bills and things. So this one starts with a square and this one starts with a rectangle. So without further ado, let's get started. So I will move these to the side, and I will get one of these, and I'll start with one of these larger pieces because it will be a little bit easier to see. Now, in terms of the type of paper you use, you can use almost anything that you like. As long as the paper or the cardstock that you choose to use is able to be folded and burnished down without too much trouble. You might want to consider what the purpose of your envelope is going to be. For example, if you would like to send it through the post with some happy mail or something else, you might want to consider using a lighter paper or cardstock, because the heavier the cardstock, the thicker the cardstock or the thicker the paper, the heavier that it will be. And so when it is weighed at the post office, it will cost you in postage by weight. So you might want to consider that. Having said that, if you would like to use your envelope as a type of storage system for some small ephemera, for example, you might want to use something that's a little bit thicker and a little bit more durable, because it might take a little bit more for it to start showing signs of stress over time. You can use these in your journal. You can stick them down to your page. You can use a paper clip and just paper clip it to the side of your page, but you can also stitch them into your page and into your signature, and for that reason you might want to use something that's just got a little bit of strength to it. Okay, so let's get started. Now, the size that you need really doesn't matter. You can use a small little square, or you can use something up to the size of a 12 by 12, or bigger if you can manage to find it. It really doesn't matter. The only thing that will change is the overall size of your finished envelope. So if you have a pattern that is directional, you might want to think about where your top flap is. For example, here, if you are using a directional paper, you might find that sometimes which way you are folding it, your pattern might be upside down or sideways. So think about that when you're choosing your papers. This is a non-directional paper. It could be directional depending on whether I choose to have these lines going horizontal or vertical. I'm not really thinking about that today. So I'm just starting with a square. It needs to be a square for this to work. So you need to make sure that all four sides are exactly the same in length. Choose which side of your paper you would like to see as your outside and which side you would like to see as the inside. When you decide which side you'd like to see as the inside, flip it to the side that you want as your inside and have that facing up to you. So the first thing we need to do is fold one side over to the other. It doesn't matter which way you do this. Just fold it over in half. Make sure the top, the bottom and the side is all lined up nicely, and just finger pinch in the center like that. We do not need to crease all the way through, and the reason we don't do that is because if we did that, if we have a look at this one, if we crease all the way through, we would end up with a crease straight through the center here, and when we fold the other way, we would end up with a crease straight through the center here, and we want to avoid that. So for that reason, we just do a finger crease in the center. Then we can open it up and we can fold it the other way. So you can either fold it up like this, or I'm just going to turn it one way this way so it's easier for me, and I'm just going to fold it the other direction. And again, I'm just going to line at the top and the bottom and at the side as evenly as I can, and again I'm just going to finger pinch in the center. Then we can open this up. Now what you will find is that there is a little crease line cross in the center here, and it's going to be very hard for you to see at the moment, which is why I have made this one up so that you can see. So it would face this way, and this is what I mean by a crease line. I've just drawn a little cross there so you can see where those crease lines would be, and all you need to do is get something to mark the very center where they cross over like this. The next thing we do is we take our square and we turn it so that we have the shape of a diamond in front of us. Then we take each of these sides and we bring the points in to meet this center dot. It doesn't matter which side you start with. Just bring each in so that the point meets this center dot, and you can crease that all the way along. I'm just going to run over that crease with my bone folder. This is my ergonomic bone folder. It is great for those of us with arthritis. If you are interested, I will link this in the description box below. Now that we've done one side, we can do the other side exactly the same. So we take the point and we bring it to the center dot and we crease it down all the way along. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to run over that crease. Now we can take this bottom triangle. Well, this is a diamond that you really see, but we're just going to look at it like it's a triangle, and we're just going to fold this up. But instead of stopping at the center, we're going to go above the center as far as you'd like to go. Now, what I'm looking for is that it is roughly that this point is in the middle as close as I can manage, and that when I crease this down, that I have a bit of that when I crease this down, it's a bit hard to explain, I guess, that you're folding over enough that you have a little bit of an extra fold here, so that it's not completely flush. So you can see, hopefully you can see, I've actually folded it over further than where this point is here. So this is what we do: fold it over so that the point is past this center, and we are giving ourselves approximately maybe 1/4 of an inch roughly on either side. I find it's never exactly the same on both sides, but that is okay. And we're just going to crease that down, and I'm just going to run over that with my bone folder, and then we can do the same with the top. Now I'm just going to bring it this way because it's easier for me this way, and we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to fold it over, and we're going to crease it down. We're going to try and have the same 1/4 of an inch or so at the sides, and we're just going to crease that down, and I'm just going to run over that with my bone folder. So now we have our 4 triangles folded in. Now we're just going to open those 4 triangles, and it will be hard for you to see on here because it's all white, but we have actually created 4 little triangles, 1 on each of these sides. So just to show you, this is what it will now look like. You will have 4 little triangles, and there'll be 1 on each side. And we need to actually remove each of these 4 triangles. So that's what these little crosses represent. So I'm just going to use my finger blade. You can use some type of X-Acto knife if that's what you have available, or you can also use a pair of scissors. So I'm just going to remove these 4 little triangles. It's a little hard to see these crease lines because I have shadowing, and I do apologise for the shadowing that you might be able to see on this video. Shadowing is caused by the lamps that I have in front of me because I am filming at night, so I need to have these lamps on to see what I'm doing. So when we fold these over, and we fold this up and we fold this down, we now have our little notches out. And by taking these little pieces out, what we've actually done is we've taken out the bulk, so that when we have these folded over like this, we're not having the extra bulk causing any problems. Now, if like me you've got a little bit of an overhang, you can simply just cut that flush, But once we've got it folded like this, the next thing we need to do is decide whether you want to leave the top flap and the bottom flap in this pointed shape, or you can cut them off so that they are flat along this edge at the bottom, and you can leave this as a triangle, as a point, or you can round the corners if you want. So I'm actually going to round my corners. Now I'm going to use this 3-way corner rounder paper punch, and if you are interested in one of these, I will link one in the description box below. Now I'm just going to turn this over so that we are looking at the underside, and I'm going to choose this medium size triangle. So I'm going to turn it around this way, and I'm going to do this on the bottom flap. So I'm just going to fold it out this way because it's a little bit easier. Now what we do is we put our paper in through the slot at the side, and I'll do it this way, and we make sure that when we put the paper in the slot, that the tip of this point meets the tip of the little triangle in the bottom of the paper punch. So when we put this paper in the slot and we get this tip into the tip of the triangle under here, then we punch, and that rounds your point into a rounded corner. We can do the same here if you want to round that side. I'm going to use the small size for this one, and again we just put the point into the slot, making sure that the point goes into the point of the triangle in the paper punch, and then we punch. You can use the same size in the same size, whichever one you want to use. You can use the same size for the top and bottom if you want to. I just find I tend to use the bigger one on the bottom and the smaller one at the top. It's just the way I like it, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. So I'm just going to open this up to this point, because now we need to glue the bottom flap to these two side flaps. So I'm going to use Art Glitter Glue. It's in my little clear bottle because I like to see how much glue I have left. Now, if you are interested in this Art Glitter Glue, I will link it in the description box below. This is not a glue that you have to use, it is just my choice of glue. I like this glue because it is designed for paper crafters, it is non-toxic, it is acid-free, it is permanent, it dries clear, it is water-based, but it doesn't have so much water in it that it wrinkles and tears your paper. So that's why I like this. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description box. I will also link these little pins. Now these look like normal sewing pins, but it looks like a normal sewing pin, but it is actually a stainless steel pin. And I use this in my bottle because it stops my pin from rusting, which rusts your glue, and nobody wants rusty glue. So now I'm just going to run a bead of glue along this flat edge and then up these angled edges of the triangle, and we're going to stop our glue. We're going to stop our glue at about at about there. So we glue from this dot all the way down and along this flat edge as well on both sides. And then you fold over and you just press that glue down. If you've got a little bit of glue seepage, just run over it with a tissue or a piece of paper towel or something. And then just burnish that glue down with your bone folder, just to help make sure it's well stuck. Because nobody wants an envelope that comes apart. So our envelope is complete. So I will do a second and a third like this, because I do believe that with repetition we begin to remember how we are constructing things. So while I'm folding, I'm just going to put my pin back in my glue and move it to the side. And we'll start with another square. Now this is obviously a smaller square, and that's okay. This is a piece of book page, which is perfectly fine to use if you've got book pages that you'd like to use up. And once again, I'm going to fold over in half, and I'm going to finger the crease in the center. And then I'm going to open it up and I'm going to do the same the other way and finger crease in the center. So I now know that I have a crease right in the center. So right there. So I'm now going to turn this to a diamond shape, and I'm going to bring the sides in so that the points meet the center dot. And I'm going to crease that down and run over that with my bone folder. And do the same with the other side, with the point meeting center dot. Crease that down and run over that with my bone folder. Then bring the bottom up and go past the center dot. Try to make sure this point here is past the center dot, but in the center between these two side pieces, as much as you can manage. Making sure that you have a little bit of extra fold over at the sides here by about 1/4 of an inch. If your envelope is small like this one, you might want to make that a little bit smaller. And just crease that and run over that with your bone folder. And then do the same with the top. And I'm just going to turn mine around because it's a little bit easier that way. And you do the same thing, fold it over, making sure that you've got a little bit on either side, and crease that along. And run over that with your bone folder. If you are interested in this bone folder, I will link this in the description box below. Now you can open this up and you will see your 4 little triangles on the 4 sides, and you need to remove all of these. So once again, I'm actually going to mark these because I'm having trouble seeing them tonight. So now we can remove these. So there's one. There's two. There's three. And there's four. So now we can fold these and we can round our corners. You can leave them if you want to, that's perfectly fine. And I'm just going to punch there and punch there, and now I can glue these sides, or the bottom flap to go up I should say, and the same on this side. Pin in my glue, and I'm just going to wipe up my glue, and I'm just going to run over those glue edges with my bone folder. So there's little envelope number 2. So I'll do a third, and we're going to turn it over so that the blank side, which will be the inside, is facing up. Fold these over in half and pinch crease in the center. Then we can fold the other way. And pinch crease in the center. And we can mark our center dot. Then we can turn it to a diamond. And we can fold in to the center dot. We can crease, and then we can do the other side, fold into the center dot, crease, we can fold the bottom up, try to get about the same width, fold over on both sides and then crease, run over that with the bone folder, and I'm just going to turn mine round and do the same with the top flap. Then I'm just going to crease that down. Now, round the corners. And then we can glue this bottom flap. No, before we glue the bottom flap, we've got to cut the edge at the corners. Or should I say, these little triangles out. I must be getting tired, I'm forgetting. It is okay if things are a little bit off with our cutting and our folding, because we are making something handmade, and therefore it is okay if things are not 100% perfect. So now we can glue. So there is our third envelope. So that's that one. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this one. So we start off with a piece of any size, as long as it is a rectangle. It must be the same length across the top and the bottom, and the same length across the sides. Now the first thing you do is you fold over the top and figure out just where you want your flap, or how wide you'd like your flap to be. So I'd like mine to be about that wide. So I'm just going to fold it over, make sure the left and the right sides are lined up neatly, and then I'm just going to crease all the way along. And I'm just going to burnish that with my bone folder. Then I can open that, and I can use this crease line to decide where I'm going to bring the top flap up to. But before we fold up to here, we're going to fold the bottom up by, well, it's up to you. I'm going to fold up by approximately 1 centimetre. So I'm just going to go to roughly that. It doesn't have to be specific, just make sure that the edges are nice and flush, and that will tell you that you have a relatively straight fold. And I'm just going to run over that with my bone folder. Now this is going to be your reinforcement area, because this is where we're going to put a thumb notch, and then we're going to fold this up this way. Now we're not going to fold it right up to the crease line where we folded this, because if we do that we won't be able to fold this over. So we're going to leave a little bit of space, approximately 1/8 of an inch. You can make it more than that if you wish. And again, we're just going to line up the sides, and when we've got it where we want it, we're just going to crease that all the way along. And I'm just going to run over that with my bone folder, and then we can open this up. And then we need to put our gussets in down the sides. So we turn it this way, and we fold it up by, again, about 1 centimetre. You can make it a little bit wider if you want to, and we fold that all the way along, making sure that the edges are even, so that we've got a relatively straight fold. And I'm just going to run over that with my bone folder. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Fold it up by approximately 1 centimetre. I'm just going to run over that with my bone folder. Now, so that you can see all these crease lines, this is what it will look like. So our fold here that we made at the bottom is our reinforcement edge where we will put our thumb notch. We've folded the sides in, and these will create our gussets, and we have a line, a crease line that runs all the way through here, which is our flap, and we have a crease line that runs all the way through here, which is the bottom of our envelope. So we do have some cutting to do. So you will have 2 squares at the top, or rectangles at the top, you need to completely take out, and then you will have 2 rectangles at the bottom and 2 squares, and you need to take those out as well. You leave this middle part on the sides because these are your gussets. So what we do is we angle cut each side of the gusset so that when we fold in, it doesn't cause any problems when we're gluing things together. So we are going to take all of this out. Going to take all of this out, and we're going to take all of this out, and then we're going to take all of this out, and we're going to take all of this out. But to create our angles for our gusset area, we're going to angle cut here, and we're going to angle cut here. We're going to do the same on this side. We angle cut here, and we angle cut here. So let's just start with the angle cut, and that frees up our gusset. We'll do this on each side. So that frees up our gusset. So before we do any more, we need to glue down. No, actually we will cut these edges first, because then we'll glue down the remainder. So we just want to cut all of this away. And we do the same on this side. So that when we fold this up and we fold these gussets in and we have our thumb notch put in here, this is how it will look. So we just need to glue along here. And glue that down. I'm just going to run over that with my bone folder. And I'm going to pin back in my glue, because with this heater going, it dries the glue out really quick. So then we need to get rid of these 2 little pieces here. And if you like, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can actually angle these in. I'm not going to angle them in too much. I will angle them, but only very slightly. So I'll start with this side, and I'm just going to angle in very slightly. Turn this over and do this side. So I've only taken a very small angle with them. And you can round the corners if you want to, and I might just do that. And, well, I might have to do it by hand because my paper punch does not always like paper. It does not always like page or thin paper, so I'll just use my scissors to round those corners. Just like that. So all we need to do is glue. So I'm just going to run a bead of glue down the sides of this bottom flap. Make sure you're holding these gussets in. Fold this over and press down your glue. I'm just going to run over that with my bone folder. So we'll make a few more of these. I'll just get rid of some of these little scrappy pieces. And we'll make a second one. So there's the first. Pin in my glue, and we'll make a second one. Now these are just some digital background pages that I have, and these are just an A4 sheet of paper. So once again, I'm just going to start with the back side of the paper, which is the blank side that I want on the inside. So I'm just going to take the top, and I'm going to fold down by all about that much, and fold that crease and run over that with my bone folder. Just going to move this out of the way, and then I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to crease along the bottom. Straight as I can manage, to make that reinforcement edge. And I'm just going to run my bone folder over that. Then I'm going to fold up, and I'm going to give myself about 1/8 of an inch in spacing. Just make sure that these sides are lined up, and once they are, you can crease all the way along the bottom. And I'm just going to use my bone folder again to run over that crease. And then I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to put my gussets in the sides. So once again, I'm just going to crease that all the way along. Try to get it straight if you can. If you are having trouble creasing straight, you can use a scoreboard if you have one, and just score at whatever width you would like your gusset to be. Okay, so now we need to cut out these top rectangles and these bottom rectangles, and we need to angle here, angle here, angle here, and angle here. So we'll do our angle cuts first, free up our gussets. So there's one. And there's the other. So now we can remove these bottom ones. And we can remove these top ones. We can glue along the bottom. And we can fold up and we can glue up the sides. Hold in your gussets, fold up and glue down. Just press that glue in with your bone folder. If you turn over and you see a little bit of overhang like I can see on this side, just grab your scissors and just carefully run along the edge to remove that excess. Now, as I said, you can angle in these sides just a little bit if you want to, which I will do. So I'm going to angle in a bit there, and turn it over and angle in a little bit here. Now, you can put a thumb notch in here if you want to. I forgot to do it on this side, but we can still put it in there. And all I'm going to do is use my circle punch. This is a 1-inch circle punch, and I will put a description. I will put a link in the description box below if you are interested in one of these. And I'm just going to, actually, I will roughly mark the centre, which is about there. And then I will put this in through this slot and put it into however deep I want my thumb notch to be. And when I've got it where I want it, I will put this line on the paper, center line in line with the triangle, and punch. And that creates your little thumb notch there. So we'll do the same with this. We'll roughly mark the center, and I will do the same thing so there is the thumb notch. Now I will round these corners with my scissors because my paper punch is getting tired and doesn't want to go through this paper very well. I may need to look at replacing my paper punch. It does happen after a while. They can go blunt over time. I have had that one for quite some time, so it might be getting a little bit tired. So there is our second envelope, and it is quite a bit bigger. So we'll do a third one, and then we'll have done 3 of each. So we're just going to once again fold over the top to make our top flap, and just crease that all the way along, going over that with the bone folder, and then we'll crease the bottom to reinforce. So we'll just make a crease that is about a centimetre thick. I'm just going to run over that with my bone folder, and then I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to bring this up here to leave myself about 1/8 of an inch in spacing, making sure that the sides are flush, and then I'm just going to crease along there and run over that with my bone folder. And then I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to put the gussets in. So once again, we fold over by about 1 centimetre. Just run over those with my bone folder. And do the same on this side. Run over that with my bone folder, and then open that up, and we're just going to cut these out, and we're going to do our angle cuts. So we'll do our angle cuts first and free up our gussets. So there's one. And there's the other gusset. Now we can remove these bottom rectangles and these top rectangles. can glue this bottom piece down. And we can glue up the sides of this bottom flap and fold it up. But before we do that, we're going to roughly mark the center, and we're going to put a thumb notch in. Now we'll glue the sides. Fold that up or glue that down. Wipe away that glue. And we'll just go over those glue areas with the bone folder. And I'm just going to angle cut these slightly. And then I'm just going to use my scissors to round these corners a bit. And there you have our third envelope. So from here you can decorate them further. I'm just using these old digitals, so I might put a little bit of decoration on them in the future. These sorts of ones you can decorate however you want when you know how you want to decorate them. I will decorate mine when I know what the journal is that I'm putting them in and what the theme of that journal is. So here are the three of the first option, the triangles, and here are the three of the second option, which is the rectangles. So I hope you will give this a go. Once you get the hang of them, you'll be kicking these out pretty quickly and making them in their masses, so they're a pretty easy thing to do. They're always handy to have around, so give them a go. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and giving me hitting that notification bell so that YouTube can send you a notification each time I upload new videos for you. The next number of videos will be all about using scraps for scrap busters ideas. So keep an eye out for those. I can't remember if I mentioned it before, but I will put these in the playlists. I will put them in two playlists. One will be titled Ephemera Ideas and the other one will be titled Scrap Buster Ideas, and I will link those in the description box below, along with links for things like the glue, the paper punches, and the bone folder, and if you're interested, a finger blade like this, and see if I can find a small pair of scissors as well, and even a grid board, because you might find this handy as well. So I'll leave the video there for now. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely